We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. This is RTBTH with your boy Hirsch. Tunde joining me as well. How you feeling, my boy?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Always good to be on the podcast recording.
Excellent. Yes, I feel you on that. So we have a really exciting guest for everybody today, a returning guest once again to talk some real shit, real talk with the pod.
To go beyond the headlines, everybody. Of course.
To go beyond the headlines. You already know.
Been a lot of headlines in the NBA lately.
Yes. And for those reasons, we have the basketball expert. Welcome back, Will. Woo, yeah. Add some sound effects, you know.
Man, it's always great to be back on Real Talk Beyond the Headlines. Yeah, man, thanks for having me back, guys. You know, what's been up with y'all?
Nothing much, man. You know, vibing out. It's been a pretty good summer. Of course, the NBA season did wrap up. Some would say in a disappointing way. Today, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, been living life, living my best life. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, man. Same, living my best life. As Will knows, Herschel and I are PhD students, so you know that drives the majority of our day-to-day life and decisions. But I will say I find it very interesting how much the NBA is just like a year-long sport, you know, in terms of the media cycles. But, you know, it seems like moves are being made more frequently that are kind of unexpected. So that's been a very exciting part of my life, just the NBA drama.
Yes, this off-season drama.
Yeah, the NBA has definitely become a, you know, year-round kind of news cycle trying to get like their big brother, the NFL. So, it's been interesting to see all the summer stuff. I know I was watching a little bit of Summer League, have been watching these Pro-Ams, you know, LeBron pulling up to the Drew, my boy Paolo Banchero pulling up to the, Jamal Crawford's Pro-Am, dropping 50 out there in Seattle. Shout out to Duke gang, you know how we do. So, yeah, man, the summer has been interesting, man. It's been hot as hell, too.
Yes. Indeed.
Yeah, man, NBA's had a lot, but, you know, off top, I think, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't start off with some news that broke today about the passing of, you know, the great Bill Russell. You know, so I know me personally, as a basketball fan, I just, you know, want to say rest in peace to a legend who was just, you know, the pinnacle of winning, of Black excellence, you know, for so long and inspired so many generations of players. You know, so definitely rest in peace and power to Bill Russell.
Indeed. Salute.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Very
well said.
A giant in the history of basketball and NBA, and a giant like in stature as well, physical, actual stature, and a giant post NBA career. Like he's really maintained a sense of, you know, belonging and, you know, giving himself to the community and to society as an advocate and as a leader. So, and I guess I got to say something about Boston, but, you know.
Yeah, you're the resident Boston guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, like Bill Russell isn't like heralded, like just like on every corner here, but he has spoken a lot about how Boston was a very racist place to play. And he's stayed with the team all his career, which is incredible. But, you know, personally, as someone who enjoys living in Boston and thinks there's a lot of culture, you know, despite some of these racist, perceptions of it, like you have to imagine that him and his dominance made it capable and possible for Boston to sort of, you know, become the liberal bastion that it is today and the inclusive bastion. So.
Salute to a legend once again. Damn, I didn't actually think about that, but yeah, I would imagine he added a lot of culture and cultural perspective to a city that, you know, just as you said, has been painted with a racist label, but even you being up there have been able to find like cultural touch points. So, one of the prior things you were just mentioning was a concert you had went to, and I was like, damn, y'all have that kind of environment and atmosphere that you can develop in Boston. That's lovely. That's great. So
Indeed.
Salute to that.
Go ahead and check out the Instagram exclusive quick take, #RTBTH on Instagram, to hear about that particular topic. But Will, we got some we got some topics that we're gonna throw at you, bro. So just please, like, give it to us straight. We're talking Ben Simmons. Is LeBron James a GOAT? Kyrie, KD, Summer League, Drew League. And, you know, hopefully we don't necessarily have to go into extraordinary detail with all of these, but, you know, we want to hear from the expert. We know that you're on top of the news. You are familiar with players' stories. You're familiar with the history. Man, we need all that. But I got something to start off with that has just been irking me. What happened to Russell Westbrook?
My guy Russ. Oh man, what hasn't happened so far? I mean, you know, he opted in for the what's his salary number? I don't know that off the top of my
47
head.
million, I think. 46
40,
million.
yeah, it's 40 something. Yeah, definitely a big nice number. Dropped the video singing to the Beyonce, "You Won't Break My Soul," after he opted in. And you know, has been in these trade talks for supposedly Kyrie, which would just be another whole other side combo. I'm sure we'll get to some Kyrie later, but and then I mean, you look at his play last year, which I mean, the numbers look okay, but like if you watch that team, like he did not give them what they needed. Definitely not. So I mean, this is like the tail end of his career, and the question has always been a player like Russell Westbrook, like that athleticism, that edge that he plays with, recklessness almost, like how will that age? And it's not looking great. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, even his agent has parted ways with him and publicly, you know, put his name on it that, yeah, I can't work with this guy. You don't even see that often. Like, think about how many agents have you heard like, yo, I'm dropping this guy. Never. But so it's tough, man. But he's the kind that's going to go out shooting. So, I mean, it's going to be entertaining, like, you know, train wreck or something to watch.
Yeah, great point, bruh. So I have a question about that whole situation with the agent kind of essentially quitting, right? I saw that he released a statement basically trying to paint himself in a good light, like, yo, these are all the things that I did for Russell Westbrook. I gave him this advice or did this or that. Did he, or do you know if there was any more elaboration on like what really happened, like why he made the decision not to work with Westbrook? Was it just like not being able to accept that he no longer is the player that, you know, he purports himself to be? What could it be?
That is a good question. And there's like two answers because, you know, as you know, in sports and especially on the business side, the agent side, people say one thing, but they may mean another. So like basically summing up his statement was, you know, we've done all these things in his career. I'm proud of all these different points. You know, he's talking about his fashion and philanthropy and, you know, the mega contracts and triple doubles that he's already had. But he's like, you know, at this point, you know, we just have basically like irreconcilable differences. I don't know if that was his term, but, you know, that's the typical like term that you hear around these situations. And it was around him and him staying in LA. I mean, I think Russ wanted out and his agent wanted him to stay. But really, I think it's, if you read into it, I mean, he thinks the guy is washed and reckless and he's trying to get out from up under it, which is, you know, odd. It's weird to see, man, but I guess that's how down bad Russ is right now. And that's, you can only kind of just say, damn.
Yeah, damn indeed.
But I mean, damn with 40 million, you know, could be worse.
Yeah, that's true. So is currently Russell Westbrook, excuse me, I'm gonna be doing that. Already thinking about football season coming up. Damn. Is he
Football
like,
guy.
so he doesn't have a agent currently. Does he still get that like 10% or whatever the percentage is? You know, just straight to him, basically a Lamar Jackson situation where he's been, you know, signing these contracts without a agent. Like, how does it benefit Russ?
I'm pretty sure he just switches. He picks up another agent, you know, pretty quickly. You know, who doesn't want 10% of 40 million? Like, I'll take that. So,
True.
you know, I mean, unless he wanted to go independent like a Lamar. And I think we'll see that more. It's interesting. And, you know, I think he's Lamar's to kind of segue for a minute. You know, he's really kind of that test case. Like, I think in sports, like, oh, when you're this level of athlete or star, you're an MVP and you're a proven commodity. Do you even need an agent? You know what you're worth. So we'll see what his contract ends up being. And I think that's really going to say a lot for the market.
Well, appreciate you talking to us about Westbrook, getting into some of the details. Of course, we love having you on the podcast because you're able to tap into the kind of relational, psychological aspect of having an agent, having $47 million on the table. Like, how does someone even process that? You bring some of that analysis. I mean, personally, man, I love Russell Westbrook. I loved him when he was getting triple-double seasons. And I mean, I just feel like there was a time when that missed me where he went from being an incredibly great player, one of the best in the league, best point guard in the league, pretty much, except for Steph Curry, to like washed, like not just washed, but like washed up on the beach and just like sort of like whale, washed up on the beach, just beached whale, washed. Like I don't. It's like a real dramatic change, and that's what I need help understanding. Will, please help me here,
dude. I'm right there with you, man. I don't know when he fell off so hard, but I just know there's like if you go on Twitter, there's like these supercuts, these compilations of his like bricks from last year, and they're just like you barely see stuff like that in LA Fitness, and I'm just like, how? Like off the side of the backboard, just breaking the glass. Like it's been rough, man. He's definitely not helping himself out with that kind of play. I think it's kind of a situation similar to like Melo, where Melo washed out of the league for a minute there, and it really was about his willingness to embrace a different role, which means, yes, you still are Melo, you still have these skills, but you're going to play a certain way, in order to maximize what's left there. And I don't know if Russell Westbrook is capable or willing of making that, decision, that shift in mindset.
So seeing how this play style has manifest, particularly late in his career, how do you think it bodes for other players that we're seeing that are up and coming, like Ja Morant, who are like freak athletes, but we're also seeing the rest of the game change and move further away from the basket? Would you, like, if you had to give him advice or give, like, for example, your little brother who's trying to make it to the league himself, like, would you say, change your game a bit so you can get some longevity, protect your body, just ensure that this doesn't befall, whatever your career may be in basketball and so forth?
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to my little brother, Ben. You'll be seeing him, like class of 2028, top recruits. Shout out to Ben Brathwaite,
Yep.
Remember the name. But
you heard it here first.
No, man, that's you heard it here first. That's right. That's a good question though, man, because like I think that a guy like Ja specifically, I think his game will age fine because what makes, and here's another tangent. I think we're gonna have a lot of tangents today, guys. But that's cool. What makes Ja special is that he has that crazy athleticism like a Westbrook, right? But his feel for the game is just so like also just leagues above others. Like his ability to just make plays, like, out there. He makes great passes and, gets exciting steals and like, block shots. Like I think his game, even when he loses that athleticism, I think he has a lot on the mental side of the ball that's gonna, carry him far.
So,
but
obviously
for other guys,
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say for other guys, if they're not able to lean on that, I think we'll see them struggle. And I mean, sometimes it's not. I don't even want to say it's about being capable, to like mentally, like it's not like guys are dumb. It's just about what you're willing to do, and kind of egos, really.
Yeah. I was basically, I mean, you answered the question I was going to ask, but it was basically going to be about people being able to adapt to that. If it's mental barriers or, what have you, how can you overcome? And it is sad. I know Russell Westbrook is late in his career now. So it may be more difficult for him, but
You trying to
Hopefully he
draft
can
Russell
be-
Wilson in fantasy, bro? Is that what's going on here?
Yes, bruh. He's going to the Broncos this year, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna be looking for him to air it out. You know, they're Mile High City. But yeah, back to basketball. We could talk football on another podcast.
Yeah. Will, I got to ask you about another player. I do want to get to the broader league in general, but this one could be quick or however you see fit. But another player who's going in reverse in his career, Ben Simmons. Look, I don't really want to get on the whole Ben Simmons, mental health thing and the back, and I mean, there's a lot. The thing that I think I find striking is all this talk about Kyrie and KD and trades and stuff. I'm like, y'all still have Ben Simmons. And look, I will be the first to call out Ben Simmons' behavior in terms of not playing, in terms of, not playing basically. Like, he just didn't play last season, I think that's such petty behavior, but he's still an NBA player and a great defender, an all-star, a passer. Like, are people not thinking that KD and Ben can run it and do something? Like, it's like this between all the conversations with KD and Kyrie and the trade situations, it's just like Ben Simmons just got forgot about. What's up with that?
I mean, would you count on Ben Simmons? I mean, I think that's just what it comes down to. Like, we haven't seen this guy play meaningful basketball since missing since refusing to dunk the ball basically against Atlanta. Like, it seems like he's been broken ever since. And it's a weird thing because I was one of those. I was a Ben Simmons guy, man. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be the next, whoever. Like, he's gonna be one of those guys. And it just hasn't happened. And for me, like you said, he's physically, I don't see why he wouldn't be capable. They talk about the back injuries and stuff. Some people, some stuff I've even heard like that it might be psychosomatic, which means like physical pain caused by a mental ailment. And I don't know if he has that, but I'm not sure that if that's what's going on, that the NBA or society at large is even equipped to like deal with that or treat it. So I hope he gets right, but it's a tough sell.
Well, you brought up some interesting points. I mean, yeah, societally, we do struggle with sort of mental, behavioral differences and disturbances, so that's a good point. Of course, as I've said, Will, you always bring a broader picture, the human picture, so appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I guess, execs and fans who are sort of evaluating these situations, and just kind of trying to understand the basketball landscape, the NBA landscape. I guess many people think that the sort of psychological barriers to him playing are much more of a factor than his actual gameplay. Like, we know he's a great player. Okay, we know he's not going to shoot, but like, he can do a lot. I mean, this point center position seems to be a thing. Jokic, I guess maybe even Giannis a little bit. So he's got a place in the league, and he is a basketball, I hate to use this word, specimen, so, but I guess the psychological factors are way more of a factor in this situation, is what you're telling me.
I think as laypersons, I would even say that we almost downplay the fact that, all of these professional athletes that we're watching from home, like, there were other people that were really skilled that also didn't make it or couldn't perform, whether it was in practice or in summer league or in preseason, whatever games. And they, lost their spot, lost their positions. All of the guys that we're watching in professional sports have made it. And there is a level of professional mental capability that you have to continue to play the game. So if it happens to be for him, and I like you're saying, I hate this kind of term of mental frailty or weakness, but like, if he can't stay on the court, then he can't stay on the court. And there is where I would say, yeah, his career is a wrap. Hopefully he can get the help he needs. I know there are like sports psychologists that people talk to when like pitchers have the yips and stuff and forget basically how to perform their job that they are, again, getting paid millions of dollars to do. But like, there's a real, there's something real behind that. Like, for example, even for your job, if you were stressed and couldn't do it, like, sure, your job might, give you opportunities or leave of absence for some, amount of time. But 2 years go by and you still are not doing your job and you're on payroll, that's going to be a problem for them. You're a liability. So I'm interested to see how coaches and teams get creative with actually trying to utilize Ben, seeing if he can actually get some kind of his spark back. But it's not looking promising is all I'll say.
Yeah, no. And I like that you made it a metaphor to work, because like that underscores one truth of this that often gets lost, is that, the NBA, sports, professional sports, it's a workplace at the end of the day. No matter if the salaries are super high and the employees are mega famous, like, it's still a workplace. And to what you also said, to your other point, I think it's going to take a really good coach and organization, which, I don't know. I don't really think we've seen Brooklyn to be, to get to get him back to a productive player. I think that's the bar we need to be at. And they're going to really have to rebuild his confidence and like set lower goals to let him achieve and work back up to, where he was, hopefully, a possible defensive player of the year. And, somebody who's getting you 8 to 10 assists a night, maybe 10 boards, and can, Draymond his way into 10 points. So I think that's where you should be shooting for. And, I'll be rooting for him to get there, but it's an uphill battle.
Indeed it is. Well, there's been a lot said about the Ben Simmons story. Plenty has been written about it, and I'm pretty sure plenty of hot takes on podcasts. So we'll leave that one alone. Let's open it up to the broader league a little bit, and let's talk about some summer league, whether you got some hot takes or you just got a general breakdown. I don't know much about summer league. I honestly don't watch summer league, but I do know one thing about summer league is that real basketball nerds watch summer league. So, Will, Mr. Basketball Nerd, please drop the knowledge on us.
I guess I can't be full nerd because, like, I didn't watch a lot. I just dropped in a couple times to see my boy Paolo. I saw what I needed to see. He was dominating, like you're supposed to. And I heard about once I saw on social media that Chet, was like going off in his first game. I forget how much he dropped, but like, everybody was kind of talking about it. I was like, okay, I want to see, what he looks like out there. But yeah, man, to be honest, I really tried not to watch Summer League this year. I was like, coming out the season, I was like, you know what, I need a little break, man. After the finals and through the pandemic, like the sports schedule just got weird. I was like, I need a clean break. But look at me. I can't stay away. The Summer League pulled me back in, those darn Twitter updates.
Yep. Need that fix. I feel you.
Yeah, Will.
Before you know it, I'm sniffing a little Paolo, a little Chet here and there, just to take the edge off.
Well, maybe we can sort of segue a bit into like the draft in general, and I mean the guys who were drafted go to the summer league. I imagine being a basketball nerd that you've been on top of the draft, so we know Paolo. It's Paolo, right? Or is it Pablo?
It's it's Paolo.
Paolo. Okay. My bad, Paolo. Yeah. But so he went first, Chet went second. Like what is just like the talent, that's in the summer league? Like, is Paolo like the definite best player? Like 5 years from now, is he the best player? Like, what's that sort of calculus looking like for you?
So yeah, out of like the young guys, I definitely see Paolo at the top. Like, I am a bit biased. I'll go ahead and own it. If you guys don't.
Oh wait,
know,
is that because he went to Duke? Is that the bias that you didn't disclose just now?
That's what people might argue, but when you take into account, his ability to score at like all levels, all three levels on the court, his playmaking ability, his ball handling, his size, his passing ability, he's got to work on defense. But sorry, my dog wants to get in on the hot takes. He's got to work on the defense, but let me pause for a second, bro. I'm sorry.
All good. Duchess is just saying he's a 5-tool player. I feel you.
Dress it up and make it real for me.
sorry for the quick break. If I remember correctly, Duchess was trying to get in on the conversation on the last time you were on the podcast. So maybe we're just gonna have to invite her to the podcast. But yeah, you were talking about the young guys, Will, Paolo, Chet, some of these young guys in the summer league.
Yes, they're very young. So many of them, like Jabari Smith, Keegan. There's this one guy. He's pretty good.
Thought you were gonna say
Look
he's
out
pretty
for
young.
That too, so young.
All right, well, maybe we'll circle back on that later. But actually, I do have a statement to make to you, Will. I think for a while, rightfully so, a lot of people didn't have faith in Duke players in the NBA. It was just like this sort of like long-standing stereotype, which, look, I'm not a Duke fan. I don't really know much about college basketball, but I knew for that stereotype was true. I knew that for a fact. All right, maybe I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but Duke in the NBA is really showing up. Obviously, Jason Tatum is the latest, greatest example, going to the finals, being the first ever Eastern Conference Finals MVP, named after his name or his sort of like ancestral teammate, Larry Bird. And of course, Kyrie Irving hit the winning shot in the finals. Mr. Slim guy in New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, whose name I blinked on. He's like an all-star basically. I mean, I
thought you were talking
I
about
thought
Zion.
you were making an ironic reference to Zion. Yeah.
well,
Mr. Slim guy.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, Zion is not really stepping up in the way that these other Duke players have. But just your thoughts on the dominance these days.
Look at the numbers when Zion did play. My boy's gonna get right. Watch this year. Just watch. But anyways, shout out to your journalism and excellent interviewing. That's such a great question. Man, you're a learned doctor, Tunde. So are you, Herschel. But anyways, Duke in the NBA, man. Yeah, we used to hear all this talk from a certain segment of fans of basketball who wear an ugly shade of blue. And they used to say, y'all don't put nobody in the league though. But just look though. Look at the last 10 years. Look how we've been doing it. Look how Duke has been putting stars in the league year after year, and it's gonna continue. We got that sauce, baby.
Is there
Paolo's
anybody
up next
that I missed?
Jason Tatum is doing it now. Look, watch out for Mark Williams too, man. He's gonna be a dog in the league, swatting people's stuff out of the sky. Watch for him too. But yeah, man. I mean, we got guys all around the league. You even look at a middle level, there's like Gary Trent Jr. A guy he'll drop 40 here and there. We got players all up through the league.
Didn't Seth
stars
go to Duke?
Too.
Yep.
So
he
my question for you, Will,
Kyrie.
is,
I mean, people try. Oh, go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
Okay, I was just gonna say people try to act like we can't claim Kyrie. Like, come on, bro. He went to Duke, bro. It is what it is.
All I'm thinking about is that
I can understand the argument, but he did go to Duke. I feel it's very appropriate because if he didn't go to Duke, if he could, he would have went to the NBA. He was forced to make a decision, and it was Duke, so he went to Duke.
Feel like Will is about to break out into Chief Keef, Love Sosa, the beginning of that song rant. People keep saying Duke ain't about shit. Duke, all this and that.
Niggas always at the barbershop.
Yes. But yeah, so this is a great opportunity to get your takes on whether or not Duke is going to keep up this success now that Coach K has retired. I don't think we've talked to you since that big news has happened. So obviously we're still in the off season. The new season hasn't even started to come up yet, but I'm sure they're already out recruiting. It's a 24-hour fucking year-round job for these coaches. So are you excited for the future of college basketball?
You know what, man? Yeah, I am, man. I made peace with the fact that we didn't send Coach K out on a win, because
I know that was a tough.
He already won all the games that matter. He's Coach K, like he's the winningest coach. So shout out to Coach K. But I'm happy about the direction the program's going. I think, Shire's set up to win. I think that, I mean, I don't think I'm giving up any trade secrets, but like, Duke basketball is like big business. It's kind of like it's bigger than one guy. So that thing's gonna keep running. And it's evidenced by the recruiting class we're bringing in this year. The recruiting hasn't fallen off at all. Still, like one of the top classes in the country. So I think we're in good shape, man.
All right. We need you to become a Duke insider so we can really tap into you talking to boosters and just getting the real, I thought you were about to drop some real knowledge for a second, like some real journalism for us. That'd have been lovely for the pod.
Not yet, not yet. I'll let you know when I come back from some of these alumni mixers.
Yep. Get the presidents a little lubricated. I feel you.
So I would like to just make sure that we acknowledge the fact that, the curse isn't really completely lifted. If you're talking about the near recent history, you got Jabari Parker going, like 3 or 4 overall. You got Jahlil Okafor going 3 or 4 overall. And, I don't even know if they're mid-level guys just yet. So, I mean,
yeah, we got such a high volume that, of course, there's going to be a few, misses here and there. I mean, when you putting 5, 6 guys in every year, I mean, okay, a few might wash out, but, they're still doing their thing. Shout out to Quinn Cook, though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Did he win a title with the Lakers?
Sure did.
Okay. All right. So just for the next part of this segment,
didn't he go get one with the Warriors too? He might have got one with the Warriors.
What, really?
Too.
Oh, he must not have played too much then.
Hey man,
still got a ring though. So
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, the second part of the segment.
I could go all day.
Can you please give us a rundown of the best UNC players in the league and what their projection is for? Oh, you don't want to talk about? Okay, all right, my bad. My bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were like a all around basketball expert. Like you talked about everything.
Unbiased.
Hey man, Brady Manick, sharpshooter, man. Hey, I do. When it's credit given, I will give it. What's my guy on the Suns? See, y'all don't even be keeping up with these UNC guys, man. See, it's just tough. They gotta bring it better. They gotta bring it. They just gotta bring it. I can't give it to them. They gotta bring it.
Tune, you might have to add some like cricket noises in silence. That shit was hilarious.
You heard it here first.
No, that's straight blanked. I'm like, was it Justin Jefferson or?
All right, so getting back into a little team-specific focus, we always rep the ATL here on RTBTH. So, Will, if you could just break down some of your thoughts and takes on the Hawks this past season. Maybe they've made some off-season moves that you liked or disliked. Can you talk some Hawks talk?
Hawks talk. Let's do it, man. I'm riding for the home team. Off top, the big acquisition. We got DeJounte Murray. It was super sad to see, Red Velvet, the Red Mamba, Kevin Herter shipped out, in that deal. But, we wish him huge success. He'll be good in this city, for forever, in my book, at least. Shit. And, but DeJounte Murray is a huge pickup because, he's nice. I believe he was an all-star this past year, but he complements Trae Young well in that, he's a long, rangy, very defensively capable guard who can, bolster our backcourt. And he can score, he can play make. I really liked his game. I've been watching him. So I'm looking forward to big things from him. He was injured a few years back. He should be back at full strength now, and ready to help us compete.
Yo, so is he going to take the moniker Dijon Mustard? Or is that only for DJ Mustard? Since we've also lost Red Velvet, I feel like we need some other food-related nickname to come in and take that mantle.
I like that Dijon Mustard. It might just stick. We'll see. But somebody's got to take the food mantle, I guess, in the city. shoot, hopefully you'll get it. You got Ice Tray,
Oh yeah,
you got John the Baptist. We got some good nicknames on the team.
yeah,
I hope
agreed. And
that
that's
John Collins is healthy. You know what I mean? That was huge last year. Just health, of a lot of guys, Bogey. Um, shoot, help me out, guys. Did we deal what's my man's name? Gallo?
Danilo Gallinari.
I think we did.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
he also was moved from the team. Yes, you're right.
yeah, yeah. He was solid, but I mean, okay. We getting a little younger, a little more rangy, man. We just need our guys healthy, man, and I think we got the pieces.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
I
I do
really do.
think. Yeah, we've been projecting forward, so the trajectory is good. I do like the addition of Dejounte, so I feel you there.
Yeah, that was an aggressive move. That's not always been how the Hawks have done business. So I mean, from a philosophical standpoint, if that's how they're moving, like, hey, there's a player out there, that we think can fill a need. Let's use what we have to upgrade, to be aggressive. So, I can't be mad at that.
Turns out that Danilo Gallinari was traded or left through free agency. I don't know the specifics to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are
Oh, wow.
increasingly a part of this conversation. But I actually do want to sort of like ask you about the top of the league in the context of the Hawks. So the Celtics are at the top. Oh, sorry, the top of the Eastern Conference. So the Celtics are at the top of the Eastern Conference right now. I personally think the team to beat is still the Bucks because they missed their second guy. And I mean, yeah, Giannis is just generational showstopper, but I think Middleton really lifted that team to the championship in some of those playoff series that year. But honestly, like the Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals just 2 years ago. I don't remember their showing this year, how they did this year. Oh, they didn't make it out the
Yeah.
tournament, right?
Yeah,
Thanks, Toon. We didn't make it this year. Yeah, it was an underachieving year. So when you
But
talk about the top of the East, I mean, oh, go ahead.
yeah, well, I'll see. Even though it was underachieving, the Hawks are still, in my opinion, like still in that mix. Like I feel like they could easily be in the Eastern Conference Finals in this coming season.
Right, right. Well, I don't know if it'll be easy. But I appreciate the optimism, and yeah, I think they could be right back in that mix. I think a lot of people had a confirmation bias from last year. Thinking that we overachieved making the Eastern Conference Finals the previous year, and that wasn't a fluke. That team was well put together. They really gelled once the coaching change was made to Nate McMillan, and I think that last year was just bad breaks. It was just basketball. You could be a bounce away sometimes, or an injury away, or play away. So like I think that with health, which is never guaranteed, but you can hope for it. And some of the moves we made, we could be right back in that mix, like you said. I definitely think Celtics and the Bucks are the teams to beat. Super impressive teams. I got to give it up to the Celtics, man. Like I didn't have them, getting to the finals. They really showed something, And
yeah,
even though they're still in trade talks and stuff with KD, I think you have to pencil them in to go far again next year.
yo, that is a really interesting thing you bring up. How serious are we taking these? I don't know if they're rumors or. So the next topic is obviously going to be Kyrie and KD and like what the hell is going on between them, either of them staying or getting out of off the Nets. Is KD seriously thinking about going to the Celtics? Was that a rumor that was kind of floating around a couple weeks ago? I know no decisions have been made yet, but
Yeah, well, I don't know if what KD's level of interest is, but I know that reportedly Boston has some interest. Supposedly they had offered Jalen. Yeah, I believe it was Jalen Brown. I guess straight up, maybe some picks and whatever, and the Nets countered asking for Marcus Smart and another piece that I can't recall. They basically wanted more. And one point I want to make is I think this trade for KD might have already been done if it hadn't been for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They messed the market up. They paid 4 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. That changed everything. Now you can't accept less than that for KD. I mean, and that was ridiculous in the first place.
Well, yeah, it definitely seems like there's a lot of interesting forces going on into this KD Kyrie net situation. You know, I mean, you're talking about it from the very basketball side, but you know, I just find it interesting that KD and Kyrie seem to not want to play with each other, or like, you know, the friendship component is kind of interesting, you know, despite not, I don't want to like be all up in, you know, these dudes' random business. I mean, they're hoopers. That's what I care about. But I mean, they've been sort of attached in terms of friendship and likability. So it's interesting. I don't understand what's going on. But Will, seriously though, like,
No.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I take it you were gonna, reaffirm what you were saying there, but that's another piece of it that's super interesting too. Like, I don't know what those dudes' deal is. Like, to me, I think they just smoking big gas and like doing whatever they feel like that day. That's the only thing that makes sense, because like it's just one day to the next. You never know what's gonna come out of those guys' lips or Twitter accounts or anything. Um, but yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, interesting sort of character study, and that's one thing I love about the NBA, man. They got some characters, they got some great players, and some really interesting, cool dudes, eccentric dudes. But what I was thinking is, just like I was saying earlier with Ben Simmons, like regardless of the drama, regardless of, you know, COVID vaccines, they are an incredibly talented team with Ben Simmons, KD, Kyrie. Like, I just don't understand, like, what part am I missing that I guess KD and Kyrie are missing in other teams like the Celtics who are trying to pick up KD. Like, to me, I'm just like, why don't y'all just run it back? Like, this is literally, I mean, I'll take the words from Ben Simmons. It's going to be scary. It's going to be scary when we're running down the court. Is that what he said? And I agree with him.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that. So what's up with that?
Man, you're right, bro. Like, if this was just like 2K, that team would be rated dumb high, as long as those guys were on the court together. But, like I said earlier in the pod, basketball, despite, the fact that they're out there hooping, they're playing a game, just like many of us have played at various levels, usually nowhere near that level. But it's a workplace too, and sometimes it's like, hey man, that guy's cool, but I don't need to work with him. I can't do my thing, with this guy in the office if he's gonna be like this. And maybe it's a situation like that. KD and Kyrie, maybe it's something completely different. I think that's what's so interesting, and like we just have to kind of wait and see what they're gonna do. This time next year, we could be talking about how KD got that ring and Kyrie got the second ring and hit the second biggest shot in NBA history. Who knows? Because those guys have that talent. But day to day, it's just a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, shout out to Big Gas, by the way. I like that
Big
name you
Gas,
threw
Big
out there.
Gas.
I feel like, what you're describing, this kind of, imbalance in the workplace relationship also kind of tied into what happened with James Harden, where he ended up getting shipped out as well, which, we saw the essential implosion that also happened with him with the Sixers this past year. So do you have any takes there?
Yeah, on Harden leaving Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do, man, because I think it goes back again to the workplace thing. It's just like, yo, Kyrie, like, that's my man's. KD, that's my man's. But like, I ain't no dude who's gonna be burning sage in the locker room. Like, I didn't, like, he didn't know it was gonna be what it was. Not to mention that he wasn't maybe in his best shape and able to hold up his end of the bargain on the court. That only added to the friction. So I think that's how he ends up getting shipped out. And now obviously he has like a chip on his shoulder in Philadelphia because he's, re-signed there for less money than he could have gotten in order for them to, build a team out. So he's taking that move to say, oh, I need to be winner guy right now. So I'm interested to see how that plays out because James Harden, that's always been the thing about him. Like, does he have that dog, like that fire? Like, does he want it as much as other guys? Other guys that we talk about as greats. And I think he's trying to show and prove right now. So I'm really looking at this season and what he does in Philadelphia.
Well, I think you may have actually answered a question that I was going to ask you without even knowing the question or even knowing the nature of the question. But basically, like, I was wondering if you had an idea of like Harden's long-term story compared to KD and Westbrook. I believe that they're all pretty much like tied together historically, and the 30 for 30 is coming out. I know that for a fact. I mean, all get drafted to the Thunder. All go to the finals that year, all leave and win MVP. And this is a little bit of a underspoken fact, but they all end up playing with, their other teammates separately on another team, as duos. So they have all played with each other on a different team. To me, the KD story is Warriors championships. Is he capable of winning outside of the Warriors? Westbrook, to me, is triple doubles. Is he capable of leading a team to a championship in general? What do you think Harden's sort of like story, like what's his sort of like character trait that's driven him throughout the league? His story, you already kind of touched on it a little bit as far as whether he can handle the pressure of leading a team to a championship.
Yeah, I think that's some really good insight into like the narrative. You're right, that 30 for 30, like, it's gonna be amazing. Like, they could do a 10-part, Last Dance level documentary out of that story, honestly. And I'd sit down and watch it. But the Harden piece, man, I think that his is a little similar to Westbrook. You got a guy who's scoring titles. He's putting up his own fair share of triple doubles and all these eye popping numbers, but coming up short again and again in the postseason. And I think that's the thing that's hanging over his legacy. You've got all these accolades, and I guess regular season accolades, but can you win that chip? Can you be the guy to take them there, or at least contribute? Because I think if on the 76ers, I mean, that's Joel's team, but like if Harden is the number 2 guy on that team, I think that's a huge, addition to his legacy. I think that's something he seems to want right now based on his offseason moves. So, that part of the 30 for 30 is being written right now, and we get to watch it live. So that's dope.
Well said, my friend. Well said.
Yeah, so we have a couple of topics left. Toon, you have this one on, and I mean, this is like a long-standing debate. I don't know how much we really need to get all the way into it, but you did ask this question earlier. We need updates pretty much from our basketball expert. Your question being, is LeBron the GOAT? And to tie onto that, I want to get your takes on, there was some news about LeBron in the Drew League, I guess last month or so, when he was basically doing his thing of cussing out refs. How'd you feel about that, Will? And does it affect his GOAT status?
Yeah, so off top, yes, LeBron is the GOAT.
Oh, what air horns is coming right now.
No question. Give me the air horns. Of course, I mean, I don't have to drag that point out, but in my opinion, yeah, he's that guy. As for his appearance at the Drew League, I enjoyed that a lot. Just the day of, I'm just seeing tweets about, oh, LeBron's going to play at the Drew League. And I'm like, okay, I wonder if there's a stream. And lo and behold, like NBA.com is streaming this. Like, it's suddenly a huge event. That gym is packed. I actually talked to one of my homeboys that's in LA. He was at the Drew a few weeks ago, and I was like, yo, you going to try to see LeBron? He was like, man, that line has been packed for hours, bro. Like, since way before they opened. So like, that's just what kind of buzz it was. And, he put on a show, man. It's kind of crazy that Dropping, I think he ended up with what, 50, 40? He put on a show. I think it was 40 something. And it's crazy that all through his career, he's come with this huge expectation and he just like usually delivers like 9 times out of 10. It's kind of crazy. So no, I definitely enjoyed watching that, man. I just love when those kind of stars get to go in that kind of environment. Kobe had graced the Drew, had a pretty epic battle with James Harden, who we were just talking about. Hits a game winner over James Harden. That just shows how much those guys really love the game, man. How, in addition to the work that they put in and the talent that they have to be at the level, like they still have that love of the game. And that's what's so cool about those moments.
Yeah, definitely well said.
But
go ahead.
Okay. And then you were talking about him chirping at the refs. I was dying laughing. Like, this man cannot help it, bro. He gonna do his Bron thing regardless. I wish the ref would have gave it to him though, because like
tee him up.
I mean, an NBA ref, you can't go at LeBron, but I mean, in the Drew League, what they gonna do? Dock your pay? You probably getting like $50 for that game. Like, you probably donating that. I would have let LeBron have it, man. Go ahead and get my viral moment.
Yeah, we'd have loved to see that. If the ref had slapped him like Will Smith had slapped Chris Rock, that'd have been wild.
Yeah.
Yo, so it's been said on this podcast before. We believe LeBron is the GOAT. I'm not actually exactly sure where Herschel stands, but it doesn't matter. LeBron's the GOAT.
What I think doesn't matter, Tune? Wow.
Look, facts is facts, but I just wanted to get the update, Will. I mean, he's still playing, so every year we kind of got to, check in and see. Every year it seems like Michael Jordan did something that no one's ever heard of. Every year there's new information of this great thing he did. So, we kind of always got to update the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the ongoing, like, he's on pace to get possibly the scoring all-time scoring title this year. So, yeah, that'll be definitely another notch in that GOAT conversation. So, I'm watching for that too.
Yeah, personally, I think that pretty much settles it when that happens. Fun fact. So people like to talk about Jordan winning 6 finals MVPs, most ever. An incredible accomplishment, 6 for 6, although he did come back that season when he came back and they didn't make the finals, but he did play in the playoffs, but whatever. They don't count that in their 6 for 6. But who's won second most NBA finals? LeBron James. So this
LeBron James.
Yes. This idea that Jordan is just like head and shoulders above LeBron is just crazy. And then some people try to, if they rank Jordan first, try to rank LeBron like 4th or 5th. Like, y'all are literally insane. So I just had to get that
unserious bunch.
Had to get that. Man, Skip Bayless did a ranking on their show, Undisputed, and he put LeBron at like 9. I was like, look, I'm just going to unsubscribe on this YouTube channel.
Did you actually unsubscribe? Because that's the only way he's going to learn.
Nah, I love that show. I love that show. Yep. So
if you left a comment, he likes the engagement. All you did was boost him up. Yeah. He got you riled up, Tune. You're going to listen in to the next time he has some shit to say.
Yeah, but
LeBron better be number 1 on their list.
I love hearing Shannon Sharp defend LeBron and put him up as number 1 against Skip's freaking relentless scrutiny.
Skip.
Go James.
That's my limited Shannon Sharp.
Will, the basketball expert, thank you for being on the podcast. I think that mostly covers the NBA talk. I mean, we had a pretty broad discussion, man. I appreciate you coming on. Got a few more segments, but, maybe just anything on your mind, wrapping up the NBA talk, like, future or forward-looking statements, or just anything that was left out.
I want to tell y'all to watch out. Paolo is coming. He's coming for everyone. Zion is back this year. He gonna 360 windmill on your grandma. Get her out of there.
Not grandma.
Yeah. He coming for everybody. Julio Jones, that's not NBA, but he just happened to be on my screen, man. Falcons legend. I hope you get that ring, bro. You deserve.
No,
And
because that means Tom Brady will win another one.
I feel like it's inevitable that that's gonna happen. He
hey,
almost
man,
snatched it
perfectly
last year,
balanced
bro.
as all things should be.
That's true. Salute to Thanos.
But no, NBA, man, I'm just excited, for the season, man. Like lately, the way the league has been is like there's so many good teams, so much young talent. We didn't even, get to talk about, really like the Western Conference. Luca and the Suns and everything that's going on with them. Jokic. There's just so much talent in the league, man. I'm just ready to watch it.
Most definitely, man. We'll
Yep.
probably just have to have you back on the podcast to talk about it moving closer to the season. Got a couple sidebar topics for you, Will. Just some quick hitters. First of all, we got to go ahead and show our condolences, but also our appreciation to Deezus and Mero are splitting. I don't even know really. I just know that they're splitting, but the articles, the media, has written about it in a way that seems like it's not that amicable. I don't know, but Charlamagne the God said some very real shit on the Breakfast Club earlier this week. He said that we didn't appreciate them enough while they were here, and now there's a lot of talk, like more coverage on the split than their actual success. But they have been magnificent since they sort of popped up in my media ecosystem. And I know Herschel's a big fan. I know Will's a big fan as well. But
Indeed. Yeah, we actually got a
Yeah,
chance to
man.
go
The
to one of
brand
their
is
live
forever
shows.
strong.
Yes, the brand is still brolic. Big ups, gigantic accolades to them and everything they did at the time. It is kind of sad, that they split up, and it's weird. Just like you said, there are like a bunch of weird rumors and shit floating around about different reasons and rationale of why it happened. And I try to think about it the same way we see like or other sports news leaks of like, all right, so who does this benefit? Like you trying to slander or smear one side or things like that. But I do think at the end of the day, it sadly, it always will come down to money and like money based decisions. And it seems like, the way that it fell, Mero was kind of leaning towards a loyalty to a, friend and coworker in his manager that he had. And Jesus was, I guess, thinking about the money. But it's really tough for us to say since they haven't really, spoken on wax about it. Because I feel like they were also doing other people's podcasts as the split was happening. They weren't doing their own podcast, and their own show had been on and off. Jesus was getting fucking COVID and all kinds of nonsense, but they were just on All the Smoke. They were on some other podcast where they were just talking about their experiences and growing and stuff. But, like you said, RIP to the Bodega Boys podcast. It will be missed.
Most def, man. Hey, we always remember the art, man.
absolutely.
And Yesenia.
Yeah.
Yes. Another quick sidebar. We talk about some of the things that we're watching on the podcast on hashtag RTBTH _RTBTH_ on Twitter. Fuck with us. A show that I know that I had a feeling Will was going to be watching the show when I texted you about it, because I remember your joy and enthusiasm for Nathan For You, which was just like the weirdest, kind of like blandest, weird, funny show that I've only seen a few episodes of. But I've been watching all the episodes of The Rehearsal on HBO, which is just as awkward as Nathan For You. Will, tell us what you think, man.
Yeah, man. That's my favorite show out right now. Nathan Fielder is an awkward comedy genius who I love his comedy because like you said, it plays on like the awkward tension of like but expectations in like everyday behavior, but it also like holds up a mirror to like society to me in that, especially on The Rehearsal, like what people will do to be on TV or to, just to get by as a small business owner on Nathan For You, they'll do almost anything, and it kind of makes you question like this whole thing. But man, the show is super funny too. Like, um, I don't know. Have you guys both been watching?
So I haven't gotten a chance to check it out. I did do some Googles once I saw Tunde was watching it. And I like the Nathan For You show too, but I haven't been able to get to it just yet. So
Oh
don't
yeah,
spoil it
man.
for me.
I highly recommend it. Me and Amber, man, me and my girl, we were like yell laughing, like having to pause it because we were just laughing so hard. Like the second episode, and this guy on there, I won't like spoil anything, but you know, he's the former owner of a Scion TC, and man, his whole like arc was just hilarious.
Absolutely. I saw that
um,
episode. It was very dramatic and hilarious.
yeah, and like it like blurs the line, like you know, because I think it's kind of like a critique maybe or like a mock up of reality TV, and you're like, wait, is this real or are these people like acting? But like, it's like a little of both.
Nice.
That's
Some
what makes
improv.
it pretty funny and unique. Yeah, it's like
So,
real people in like artificial situations.
okay. Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to check it out once I clear my slate of a few other priorities, responsibilities, responsive trilatrons. I will definitely be getting to that. But speaking of HBO Max and dope shows, have y'all been watching or have y'all checked out Rap Shit? That's the new TV
No,
show,
that's on. I've
Issa
heard
Rae
about that.
show. Yeah, it's loosely based off of the City Girls and coming up in Miami. I think there's 3 episodes out right now. Not gonna lie, it's pretty good, pretty funny. Of course, they take comedic license, so you know we don't know how much it really like sticks to real life. But you know, these 2 girls were JT and Young Miami. I forget what their real names are, but they lived some interesting lives. So it definitely kind of touches on some of their scamming, some of their, you know, woes with, you know, having kids and still trying to make it in a career, you know, switching careers, the whole, you know, Miami scene of party and style and fashion and booties and rap. So pretty interesting. I would definitely
Oh,
say
that's
y'all
dope. I
check it
didn't
out.
know. Definitely, man. I didn't know it was like loosely based on the City Girls. Like, I'm definitely interested now. And I think those government names you were looking for were Young Miami, Carisha, and
Yes.
JT Jatavia. Yes, the City Girls.
Yes. That's them. Yes.
That's
Definitely check it
them.
out. What else y'all watching? I got a couple other, but I don't want to hog the mic on this one.
Yeah. Really. Well, it's you know the season ended a little while ago, but Barry also on HBO Max. You
Yup.
know Bill Hader. Oh man, dope season. This was I think season 3. Just a good show, bro. Like the writing, the acting, just the whole premise of it. You know, it's a hitman trying to retire and become an actor. It's this dark humor, you know, and high drama. So they
Yep.
had a really good season. I recommend that to anybody.
Very dark. NoHo Hank. Great character. Love that guy.
I
Great
have to
character.
admit, Herschel's been recommending that show for a while, and I watched the first episode and never really got back to it. But honestly, Will, your recommendation is pretty heavy, so I think
Wow. But not mine though. Wow. I see how it is. First my
You know
LeBron
what?
takes.
I appreciate
Now
that,
this.
Tunde.
man, I need 2 really close friends to recommend something, and I'll do it. Just the
My
first
man needs a
recommendation
quorum.
happened like 3 years ago, unfortunately.
Yeah, season 1. You're right. Yeah. It was fire then too.
Indeed.
But yeah, yo, another show that I think you guys might enjoy, especially if you like sci-fi shit too, and I know you like this type of shit. The Man Who Fell to Earth on Showtime. It's got Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is a gangster ass actor. He basically is playing an alien. I'm not gonna tell you any more about it because that would be spoilers. But it's him and Naomi Harris, so 2 black main characters in a sci-fi show that's not like, you know, it's high budget. Great acting. They really like hold it down. I binged that shit in like 2 or 3 days. I think you'd really enjoy it. It was based on a
That's dope.
novel from like the 60s or some shit, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's all in modern times and shit. Basically, this black genius alien dude is trying to take over the world. It's pretty lit.
Hey man, you have me a black genius alien dude. I feel like that's
Yeah, I knew that phrase
that
would get
describes
you.
me a little bit.
Oh,
Shoot,
yeah.
that's gonna be my next Halloween costume. I
Have
just
y'all-
got to show up.
Yeah, exactly. Have you all seen or heard of The Bear? That's also been kind of blowing
Oh
up the
yeah,
zeitgeist a little
I've
bit.
definitely heard about it.
Yeah,
As
that's
you
the
can
other
see,
show.
I'm a little behind on shows, but yeah,
Oh,
I've
you
heard it's
good.
really good. Like,
Yeah, it basically follows this like master chef dude who's like bumped down to his brother's restaurant, which is basically like a sandwich shop in the middle of Chicago, and like all the uh dysfunction that's associated with like, all right, well, these are like regular Joes that are trying to operate at a super high level and keep the business afloat. And it's low key like anxiety inducing, very similar to Uncut Gems, if you guys saw that. But at the same time, it's shot really well. It's acted really well. I don't know if y'all watch Shameless, but the main character in Shameless is the dude, Lip, I think is his name in
Lip
Shameless.
Gallagher.
Yes,
in
Lip
Shameless,
Gallagher.
yeah.
That's him. But
But I don't know his
another
real
good
name.
one. Yeah, I don't know it either. Sorry, but salute to you, guy.
And the black girl that's in it, I've seen her stand ups. It was funny.
Yeah, she's great as well. Another show
I
where we're
forget her name
saluting.
though. What's her name? Do you know her name?
Nah, I don't. I know she's
We don't
in
know. We
some
don't know
other shit,
anybody's
too.
name today,
Yeah. Speaking of names,
especially if they
though,
went to UNC. We don't know their names. We don't know names.
yeah, that'd have been wild if she went to UNC. But nah. If she was a hooper or some shit. But I know she is on Big Mouth. She plays the black girl on Big Mouth, and she's funny. Yeah, like you said. But speaking of Big Mouth transition, R.I.P. to Jack Knight, who did pass away recently.
Yes.
He was Devon on Big Mouth, and he was also on the show Bust Down, which I will also recommend. Another black comedy, really funny. They're in like, what the fuck is this dude's name? The rapper. Oh, I just showed you the
Freddie
show when I
Gibbs.
was in. Freddie Gibbs, yeah, he's acting his ass off in this fucking show comedically. I was like, oh man, this my guy got some chops. I don't know if the show's going to continue since one of the four passed away. I think it was eventually reported suicide. So very sad that he was having.
I didn't
some
know. I didn't hear
troubles.
that, man. That's bro. My heart goes out to family and friends, man.
Yeah,
just try to keep people close, man, and love on people while you got them.
Indeed.
Honestly, that is a perfect final word. Matter of fact, can you go ahead and say it again, Will? And we'll just go ahead and end the podcast there.
Hey, man, real talk beyond the headlines. Love your people while you got them. And with that said, I love y'all too, man. Peace. Thanks for having me.